Duit, agus fáilte, charas. Hello and welcome, beautiful witches, souls, me owl flowers. Today we are doing another temple library entry where we are at the hearth, where truths are held and witnessed. Quick disclaimer: if you have any religious trauma, go gentle with yourself during this series. So we are continuing on from our last entry, which was the tomb, mother and baby home, and then the one before that was the Magdalene laundries. So be sure to check them out if you didn't already. This one we are diving into the Christian Brothers. So beautiful witches, grab a cup of tea or some sort of liquids. I'm on the smoothies again today, and join me at the hearth. So before we get into it, I just want to mention again the reasons why I'm doing this. They are the same as the last ones. Lifting the rug to witness what is underneath, giving the victims and the survivors their voice and keeping their memory alive, and also what they went through. It's also an ancestral and cultural healing and not forgetting. So as ever, I will be touching on the facts and the story. I'm not going into much of a deep dive. I'll be leaving more resources at the end as ever if you want to dive into this a little bit more yourself. So we'll start this one off as we started the last few off with the question: what and who were the Christian Brothers? I just want to mention I do have a candle lighting here at the moment, a blue one, as I have in the last few, because these are part of Remembrance as well. And also I will be doing a little bit of drumming at the end, and you are welcome to join me for that. So the Christian Brothers were founded in 1802 in Waterford in Ireland. It is a congregation for educating poor youth. They played a major role in Catholic education for boys. They operated, before I go on, I do have a couple of notes here. If you are watching the video, if you're listening to the podcast, it won't make a difference, but I do need notes for this. So they operated schools and institutions in Ireland and also worldwide, which I'll be getting into a little bit in a while. They had major institutions in Cork and in Dublin, and the educational institutions they ran were primary schools, secondary schools, technical schools, and also orphanages and schools for the deaf. So what were the Christian Brother institutions? They were similar to the Magdalene laundries, industrial laundry labour, which was going on in the Magdalene laundries. In the Christian Brothers, it would have been industrial labour also. In the institutions, woodwork, farm work, maintenance, etc. Similar control, just a different way of doing it. Who was sent to these institutions, industrial schools? So boys from poor families, boys sent through the courts, boys labelled as neglected or in need of care, children placed by the state. Many came from vulnerable backgrounds and had little or no choice in being placed in these institutions. So alongside these institutions, the Christian Brothers were also deeply embedded in the wider educational system, as I mentioned. So eventually when them institutions, our boarding schools and stuff like that, excuse me, my throat chakra, and all this is happening when we're doing these videos, when they shut down, they were running the normal schools and holding the education the same as the nuns. Like my secondary school was run by nuns as well, so it was embedded in the educational system across Ireland at that time, and still kind of is in a way, and in some places. So the daily life inside these places, again, were strict discipline, lack of care, abuse, labour expectations, all sorts. Again, I'll leave more resources at the end. But we will be moving on now to what lies and what was happening beneath that system. So the Ryan report came out in 2009, and this was an investigation of all forms of child abuse in the Irish institutions. This report and testimony showed that the whole system treated kids like prisoners and slaves. The report detailed widespread physical, emotional, sexual abuse across multiple institutions spanning decades. The abuse has been described by some as Ireland's Holocaust. And a quick note is the Irish state excluded other institutions from this report, including the survivors did advocate for the inclusion of the Magdalene laundries, but they deemed them private. It gets me so angry, I'm not going to lie, and it gets me so upset. I'm so heartbroken by all of this, and I can't even believe that they couldn't even just take a bit of responsibility for what they done, and they still haven't. But I'm gonna just try and keep me composure here again. I'm actually gonna pause this for a second. Okay, I'm a little bit more composed. It took me a little while to do my eye makeup and all this morning, and I'd done it blue to honour this temple library entry and the victims and the survivors. So I'm gonna keep going here. These atrocities were not only in Ireland, as I mentioned. There is cases that also emerged in Canada, in the United States, in Australia, in Great Britain, in Northern Ireland, and also in Scotland. I haven't gone into numbers in this one, as it's so widespread. I couldn't even get a grip, to tell you the truth, on numbers. And there's still cases continuing to go on as I'm recording this temple library entry. So again, I'm going to leave some resources at the end that you can go into if you're feeling drawn to. Before I move on, the candle is dancing while I'm recording this, as the other ones were. Also, I just thought that was important to share. So I'm going to move on here now to the impact on children. For many children, the impact was lifelong, and it affected their sense of safety, their trust, and their ability to move through the world with ease. Sorry, the candle is flickering like mad. The impact also was on families. Families were affected through separation, through silence, through the weight of what wasn't spoken, and the way of carrying this through generations. It also had an impact on the safety. On a wider level, it shaped Irish society through silence, through mistrust of institutions, and a long journey toward acknowledgement and healing that is still happening. So, before I do close this, I do just want to take a moment again to acknowledge the boys and the men who lived through these institutions, those who were harmed, those who carried this into their lives, those who are no longer here. I'm sorry, I am getting upset because, you know, you just really can't not get upset about this. It's the same as any other atrocities in the fucking world, like, that's happening at the moment. It's just, this is held in remembrance. And anyway, and in a moment I'm going to come back and do a little bit of drumming to close this. And if you stayed for this long in the video or the podcast, thanks for watching and being at the heart and holding a little bit of remembrance and witnessing. Okay, I have some resources here, and this seems to be a common theme throughout these videos now, that I kind of get a little bit upset at some stage. I can't even remember if I did in the Toon Babies. I think I got upset off camera. I can't remember, but there'd be something wrong if I didn't, to tell you the truth. So I am going to move on to the resources now. I'll move on to some films, some movies that there is, and I'll pop up a little picture there on the screen if you feel drawn to watching them. I can say that I did watch this one that I'm popping up now. It's called A Song for a Raggy Boy, and yeah, that one is out. There's also a lesser known one called Our Boys, and that is a documentary style one. I haven't watched that yet, so, but what I've read up on it is meant to be detailed again in explaining what happened, lifting the rug on it. There is also a couple of books there that I'll pop up on the screen, and I'm sure there's plenty of documentaries and stuff there. All you'll have to do is have a little research on it yourself and see. So in a moment I'm just going to do a little bit of drumming now to close this temple library entry off, and also at the end of this whole series, because there is 2 more to come after this, I will be doing a separate sound healing for anybody that's went through the whole chapters, and also for the victims and the